So, good evening, and welcome along to another big show here on NVTV. Hope we find you well this evening.
Coming up on the show, we'll be doing some cooking in the kitchen.
And from the archives, we'll have some great live music from Dom Martin and also the legendary Brendan Quinn. But starting us off on the show tonight, we're going to talk about wine. And it's probably that time of year where we'd all love to be sitting in our back garden right now, enjoying a nice wine. We're going to be talking to a couple of wine experts now who join us on the line. First of all, Sherril Soliman, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to see you, Robin and Pauline, this evening.
Hi.
So tell us, we're going to take a look at some wines in just a second, but your website is called Wine with Stories. So let's find out about your backstory first of all. You guys lived in Venice, didn't you?
Yes, we did. In fact, my husband, Thomas, here worked in luxury hotels in the Grand Canal in Venice for over 20 years, and he was head of food and beverage for luxury hotels. So food and wine was his passion as well as mine on a private level, but we had a home there in Venice, 30 minutes from Venice in the heart of the Veneto wine region. So we spent our weekends going around all the small producers, getting to know them and learning how they make wines by hand and how much, single vineyard, small production is so much better than what we're used to in the supermarkets.
So Sherril, where did your love for wine, where did that first come from?
Well, I always had a passion for food and cooking, but I had a very good friend who was head of Diageo in Northern Ireland, and he at the time was the biggest wine buyer in the world for the whole group. So I spent time travelling the world with him and his wife, and we went to the South African wine route, did all of that, so learned a lot from him. But mostly my education has come from speaking to the producers themselves in the Veneto wine region.
So it's that time of the year now. We'd all love to be sitting in the back garden with a nice glass of wine. Obviously, people can't get out to the supermarkets and stuff. So do you find people are turning to more kind of artisan wines?
Well, they're turning to the internet, and first of all, Amazon, which we have been on for over a year, has really taken off like a steam train. We weren't used to that kind of business from Amazon. I think people weren't really aware that you could get your wines on Amazon until now. And meanwhile, we had also been building a website for a European-wide e-commerce venture in wine, and we just moved a lot faster and put that on a more simplified platform to develop wineswithstories.com, which is now live, and we've been absolutely inundated with orders. It's crazy because people can't get out, and yes, they see all this lovely weather, and the first thing they want is a nice glass of chilled wine in the sunshine.
Definitely.
Well, we're going to start with a white wine now. We've had this chilling already, haven't we?
We have.
So tell us about this one then.
Okay, this wine is called Anselmi San Vincenzo, and it's really, for the palate of it would be for people who love New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, except it's miles ahead of any New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. But I'll just tell you a little bit about it. It's from the Soave region in Italy, and the producer is called Roberto Anselmi, a very small, iconic producer. And his wines are in every Michelin star restaurant up to the 3-star gods all across Italy. And even in America, all the Michelin star restaurants, you will find this wine. Now, this is the young wine that people would be quaffing around Lake Garda. He has another 2 whites that age for 15 years in the bottle. But this San Vincenzo is 85% Garganega grape and 30% Sauvignon. So first of all, if you give it a good swirl in your glass, look at the colour. It's a beautiful honeyed colour.
It is beautiful.
A lot of people say white wines, they're not getting much colour out of white wines these days. These wines, the grapes are like melons and they're so juicy. The big thing in this wine is it's juicy and refreshing. And on the nose, the first thing you'll get is mango, full of tropical fruit flavours and aromas like pineapple, mango. And then on the palate, if you give it a sip and put some air through your front teeth, like that, you'll really get the flavour on your palate. And again, you get mango and pineapple and ripe guava. Lots of tropical notes coming through there.
Oh, yes.
It makes your mouth salivate, which makes you want another sip of the wine. It's very juicy, very refreshing.
That is good.
It is gorgeous. So tell me, Sherril, then.
Long drink.
It's beautiful. Sherril, what sort of cost would something like this be, and how much should we be paying for a good white wine?
Okay, well, this is not expensive at all compared to decent Marlborough New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, which would be the flavour profile. So this is on our website at the moment at £10.99. But if you order, you can mix cases on the website, so you can have 12 cases, or 12 bottles. If you order 12 bottles, you get 20% off that.
That is absolutely beautiful. Really,
gorgeous,
really, really
isn't it?
refreshing, yeah.
And later on, we're going to be doing some cooking in the kitchen with a recipe that you guys have recommended as well. That recipe will go well with this wine, won't it?
Absolutely, and we actually use the wine in the recipe as well. It is the wine that you pour a little glass of, small glass, because you don't want to waste too much. You want to be drinking this good stuff. So you put that in when you're making the risotto. It's an Anselmi Scampi Porcini risotto with Pan Fried Cod and Samphire.
Sounds absolutely delicious. We can't wait to try that. We've got another wine standing by as well. We're going to move on to the red wine this time. And I have to admit, I'm not a big red wine drinker. So lots of things I probably don't know about it. But I do know that before you open a bottle, or when you open a bottle, you're meant to let it breathe for quite some time. How long would you let a red wine breathe for?
Not every red wine, Robin. If it's a young red wine, you can open it and it's ready to drink straight away. But this is a big barrel-aged red wine, which takes time to open up. This has been, it's from 2016. So actually with a big wine like this, that's why they use decanters. So if you can decant this about 2 to 3 hours before you're planning to drink it, that's optimal. Now, sometimes if you're in a restaurant and you order a big wine like this, they don't have time to decant it for you, but they will decant it and let as much air into it to bring it forward and let it open up as quickly as possible. Also, this is very much a food wine, so it's not one of those wines that you would sit and quaff of an evening. It's a wine you want cheeses with, and you want the perfect food to go with this, which is the ideal food with this, is smoky barbecue food, so meat on the barbecue. And this is the wine to go with that. This is multiple Ciano d'Abruzzo, so it's from very high altitude vineyards at 400 meters, more than that, in Abruzzo. And the multiple Ciano grape is the very typical red wine grape there, but they tend to be cherry fruit bombs and very uninteresting apart from overpowering cherry fruit. But this one is very, very fine wine. In fact, it sells at £28 on our website because it is a big wine and there's a lot that goes into the making of it. But it's very youthful and perfumed on the nose with hints of oak and ripe red and black plums and bramble fruit. And also notes of hot stones baking in the sunshine. Now, on the palate, it is richer with juicy plum and bramble fruit again, but also this iron stoniness on the palate with a salty mineral note on the finish.
That is gorgeous.
You hear people talking about tannins. Tannins have an effect, like you get tannins in tea as well, and if you sip it, it actually makes the sides of your mouth dry. It almost puckers the inside of your mouth. But what that does, it actually makes you salivate and makes you want to take the next sip. So this is quite tannic, but it has soft edges and sort of stronger grippy tannins in the middle. But what that means, it has more structure, and that means that it goes much better with food. So once you have your barbecued meats, the perfect pairing with this wine, or some lovely aged cheeses, this is absolutely beautiful when it's paired with the right things, and it really opens up again in the glass. If you leave that glass today, go back to it this afternoon, it will be even more amazing.
Oh, wow.
It's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm not really a red wine drinker. Sherril, how do we know a good red wine?
I guess it's all in the taste in the end, but this is why we developed wineswithstories.com, because there are a lot of industrial commercial wines produced and almost confectioned to make them sweeter, to cover bad winemaking, because they're just bulk wine repackaged in a brand created out of the air with no winemaker anywhere near it. And what they do in those cases is they add the chemicals and add the additions, the colour, to make it cover bad winemaking, basically. So it's made to fit your palate, even though you may not know you're drinking a bad wine, but it's essentially propped up with sulfites and other chemicals. So it's always better to go for wines with provenance, and that's the reason why we always say, ask for the story behind the wine. If there isn't a story behind the wine, then it's not an artisan wine with provenance. No commercial industrial wine has the story. Artisan wines have stories.
All right, well, Sherril, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us and more importantly, sharing your wine with us as well.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Wineswithstories.com is the website, and of course people can go on that if they want to order some wine at the minute, can't they?
They can indeed, and we're delivering all across Northern Ireland and all across the UK.
Great stuff. We're going to get ourselves into the kitchen to do some cooking. In the meantime, thank you so much, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
We're going to enjoy this while you watch something from the archives, some live music now. And here's one of the best blues singers ever to come out of Belfast and Northern Ireland. Here is Dom Martin.
Got champagne taste and beer pockets, my friend. You got time to take, but no time to give again. And he pulled his guns, but I pulled mine first again. He got off a drunken shot, but the sun was in his eyes. And I shot him right there, and I sealed his demise. Well, you know, you can't take the easy way out, but just stay away from me, 'cause I really don't need this now. A man who is scared is a man to be feared. Don't you close those eyes, don't you block your ears again. For the thief in you will disagree. You can't go your way, there ain't nothing to see again. Well, you know, you can't take the easy way out, but just stay away from me, 'cause I really don't need this now. I'll steal you a horse, we can ride out west, where the sand blows warm, you can take a clean breath. But reality sets in, and I got shot through the chest by a Shaolin Buddha Indian priest. There I am, bleeding now, and that damn priest starts reading our vows. So I grabbed my pistols and I shot him in the eyes. He died with no sight, and I died with a smile. Well, you know, you can't take the easy way out, but just stay away from me, 'cause I really don't need this now.
Great song from Dom Martin, and we'll have some more live music a little bit later on from the legendary Brendan Quinn, and we'll also find out what Brendan and Willie Nelson have in common. But right now, something's cooking in the kitchen. Let's go and see what Pauline's getting up to.
So I've been sent this recipe, and believe me when I say this, I am no great cordon bleu chef. In fact, a lot of the time I burn things. So I've been sent the recipe. It is called Anselmi Scampi Porcini with Pan Fried Cod and Samphire. We're obviously using the wine that we tasted earlier, which is the Anselmi white. And you know, cod, there's prawns, there's saffron, which isn't very easy to get, but I was lucky because we had been in Tunisia earlier, well, it was actually last year now when I think about it, and I got saffron, so I already had that here. There are some unusual seeds that I haven't used before, so I got what I could during this lockdown, and hopefully it tastes lovely. So the first part of this dish is to make a stock. I've got everything prepared. I've prepared all the vegetables. I've washed the mushrooms. I've washed the prawns. I've just used uncooked prawns, king prawns. But somebody who is a really good chef or a really good cook, you know, you might want to get the tails, the full prawn with tails and everything, because you can use the tails to make a really good stock. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw a couple of prawns into the stock to make it stronger for me, to make it easier. So now I'm preparing the stock. I'm going to cut the onion, I'm going to cut the celery that we have, and a carrot as well. And this is all just vegetables for the stock. And you know what, like I said, I'm no professional, so I'm just cutting it the way I know how. I'm sure there are many of you out there who are much better than I am. But here goes. And this is a medium onion. Okay, so a little bit of olive oil. I'm getting organised now to make the stock. I am going to put the onions and the veg into the pan and let it cook for a few minutes. If half of it's over the cooker, see? There we go. Okay, so that's it sizzling away there, and that's going to be for about 20 minutes. So I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. In the meantime, I have been roasting some seeds, fennel seeds and cumin seeds. There are some other seeds on the recipe, but I couldn't get everything because of lockdown. So a dry pan and just on some heat, so that's what I've been doing. And in the meantime, what I have to still do is cook the rice with the mushrooms, the prawns, and of course the cod. So enough from me. In the meantime, some music from the legendary Brendan Quinn.
A long walk today, like I do most every day. Helps to keep this old body ticking over. When you've punched in 70, time gets closer. You don't know when you're gonna be pushing up the clover. I'm not the man that I used to be. The years just keep on roaring by, and before you know it, your history You're playing in that big band in the sky. So just keep walking every day, all along the wild Atlantic way. That salt sea air will keep your mind and body sober. I'm not the man that I used to be. The years just keep on roaring by, and before you know it, your history, you're playing in that big band in the sky. So I keep walking every day, every inch of Ballyhiernan Bay helps to keep this old body ticking over. Keep this body ticking over. Keep on walking every day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep on walking every day. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if you're a big Brendan Quinn fan, he's broadcasting a daily gig live every day on his Facebook page from his home in Fanad in Donegal, and it's well worth checking out. Now, what's life on the road with Brendan Quinn like, and what does Brendan and Willie Nelson have in common? Let's delve into the archives. Here's a clip. What was life on the road like with you when you were touring? Did you lead the whole rock and roll lifestyle?
Yeah, it was more or less, you know. It's like the old saying is, what happens on the road stays on the road, Robin, you know. Let's just say we had a good time.
But you did at one stage. You have something in common with Willie Nelson, don't you?
Yeah. A friend of mine, Peter O'Hanlon, when we were caught at Larne Harbour, and Pete at the beginning of a song, he said, I have a great song for you, Brendan. He says, it happened at Larne, let me tell you the yarn, we were busted.
What were you busted for?
I had a bit of cannabis,
right,
which was highly illegal at that time, and that was '87, and they threw the book at me. Like, I mean, I almost did time.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I was told. My solicitor told me, he says, Brendan, that you could go down for this, but I got character references from two very good people. Harry Adair, who was producing.
Remember Harry? Yeah.
He was producing the television show that I was doing at the time, and Father Brian Darcy, another good friend. Both of those guys came to Larne Court and spoke for me.
Brilliant.
And the judge let me off with a huge fine. So that was, but if it happened today, you'd probably get a slap on the wrist.
So we're going to hear a song now called Pilgrims of Eternity. Tell us the story behind this one.
Yeah, that line, I got that line from an article in the newspaper. But the song was more or less been on the road just. And I remember I used to do a lot of gigs, solo gigs in London, and fly over and fly back on the cheap flights. So you'd have to be at Luton Airport at like 6:30 to get home. So I'm standing outside the Galtymore at 4 o'clock in the morning, waiting on this Green Line bus coming up from Victoria to take me up to Luton. So I'm heading north on the Green Line. That's the first line of the song. So I just went from there. It's a song about being on the road and wanting to get home just.
All right, here we go. Brendan Quinn with Pilgrims of Eternity.
I'm heading north on the Green so long. And sometimes I think I'm just wasting my time, sing the same old song. Bright neon lights have passed me by. It's just a hard road for me, but ours is not to ask the reason why. It's just the way things seem to be. We're pilgrims of eternity. It doesn't matter where we roam, like a boat out on the raging sea, trying to find our way back home. Keep on driving to that last show, baby. Soon as it's over, I'll be gone. Keep your candlelight shining in the window. I could be home before the dawn. We're just pilgrims of eternity. It doesn't matter where we roam, like a boat out on the raging sea, trying to find our way back home. We're just pilgrims of eternity. It doesn't matter where we roam, like a boat out on the raging sea, trying to find our way back home. Just trying to find our way back home. Yeah, trying to find our way back home.
There we go, that's all we have time for on The Big Show this week. You've been busy in the kitchen?
I have, and you know something? I've actually had lots of fun, I
Yeah.
have to say. And I'm actually quite pleased with what it looks like.
Even though it was slightly complicated, wasn't it?
It was a wee bit complicated for me, but I did it, so I feel really good.
Alright, well I'm dying to try this. If people want to check out the recipe, what we'll do, we'll put it up on our social media, on our Facebook pages, and you can check out the recipe. Is it any good?
I must say so myself.
Wow,
It's gorgeous.
that is amazing. And of course, great wine to go with it as well. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye.